Hello, 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 and welcome to Chi Magic Verse. Hello, 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 and welcome to Chi Magic Verse. And this is our second episode, and the theme for today is the return to awe when the season isn't shiny. And today we'll be exploring a soft re-entry into wonder and considering when the magic has gone quiet, how do we reconnect and reconverse with awe and wonder? I welcome you to this moment, and I'm so happy that you're here listening. Welcome to now. As a reminder, this is Chi Magic Verse, a space for soft truth, magic moments, and the kind of clarity that finds you when you're not trying too hard. I'm Ariel, and I'm recording this in the middle of whatever is real today. So there's no polish, just presence. I invite you to slow down, feel your breath, and listen however you need. Eyes open, eyes closed. It all counts. There is magic in showing up just as you are. Welcome to space. Welcome to now. Let's begin. In this episode, I want to speak gently to the season after the shimmer fades. So the days where awe feels far away and the universe doesn't feel like it's dancing with you anymore. Maybe you've also been there too. And it can feel like a flat season or like a muted stretch of time where it's not quite sadness, it's just a little bit like silence. I think I refer to it as meh, like just MEH. It's just that like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10 feeling sometimes, or even less. A feeling kind of like, it feels a little bit like I've been ghosted by magic. And yeah. And I noticed that I felt that a little bit. I'd say for at least a week. And there were just so many gifts that I experienced of witnessing myself in that flat season. And also wanting to share the current season I'm in of a soft re-entry. How does it feel like to return to awe slowly, quietly, even when I'm not all the way back? And if you can relate as well, how does it feel for you to return to awe and wonder slowly and quietly, even when you're not all the way back? In the first episode, I talked about awe as the mountain elder and wonder as the playful scout. But I went through a week or so where I wasn't feeling or connecting to awe and wonder in that direct, like goosebumpy way. And I remember asking myself, where do Where do awe and wonder go during those seasons of meh? Those times when the blank canvas doesn't feel life affirming, but instead it brings out doubts. Or when I wake up and I don't feel chosen by the day. When magic feels like something that used to happen, but not lately and not today. Those kind of days where it kind of feels like a fog of realism sometimes. And what I started to notice is that awe in those moments, it isn't majestic or shimmering. It's subtle. It's like a flicker, maybe. A moment where the body exhales, and that exhale feels like a reunion. I'm going to invite us to take a deep breath together. And exhale with a sigh. Repeat again, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale with a sigh. One last time at your own pace. Inhale. Exhaling. Wow. So awe in those moments isn't majestic or shimmering. It's subtle. A flicker, maybe. A moment where your body exhales and that exhale feels like a reunion. So wonderful. Wonder becomes quieter too. Wonder is not always delight. It can sometimes be a question. And sometimes it's more like a question that hasn't given up yet. Like, could there still be beauty here? Could the light still return? Together in those kinds of seasons, awe and wonder are less like fireworks, and they're kind of more like embers, almost invisible, but still burning underneath. Something that I notice within myself is just a soft remembrance where I remember saying to myself, oh wow, if I can imagine worst case scenarios, and if I can script out doom and gloom and flatness and rejection in vivid detail, then you know what? I can also imagine joy. I can also imagine connection, surprise, magic. And at the end of the day, if tomorrow feels bland and blank, maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's just unwritten. And the unwritten, the blank canvas, can still become wonderful. And honestly, for me, this space is about authenticity. It's about space to be really honest with myself and to invite you to be honest with yourself. It's not a space to be shiny and glossy or perfect in any kind of way. Whatever's real now is welcome. And I really wanted to speak to that fog that can sometimes show up on different days or different weeks for all of us. the fog that rolls in sometimes. It's not painful, it's not dramatic. It can just feel a little bit blank. And what I noticed within that fog is that I wasn't necessarily feeling bad, but I wasn't feeling lighted up. And days just started to feel a little bit repetitive, and the magic that used to swirl around me felt a little bit more like a memory than a presence. And I noticed that when awe feels far away, I start to doubt things that I once felt sure of. Like the blank canvas of a new day doesn't always inspire possibility. Sometimes it would bring up pressure or apathy even. It asks for imagination, but sometimes all I can offer is silence. I've noticed a few things that tend to dim the light. For example, when I'm in spaces where whimsy and magical dialogue aren't the norm, a part of me shrivels or gets tired. Or when my fascia perceives that my most radiant desires aren't celebrated. Or when I momentarily let social conditioning or statistics steal my joy. But maybe it doesn't matter why the light dims sometimes. Only that I have the lucidity to notice when the glimmers return. And I turn it to you as well. Maybe it doesn't matter why your light sometimes dims, but it does matter that you remember that you have the lucidity to notice when the glimmers return, to notice when the sparkle flickers back in, when something even small reminds you and reminds me that we're still part of the magic. You are still part of the magic. I am still part of the magic. And honestly, maybe the fog doesn't mean awe is gone. It could just mean that you're in between songs. It could be a momentary pause. And perhaps the next song might already be tuning itself in the background. Now, I could feel my return a little bit this week. My return to kind of like my meanness. And it started out small. For example, the other day, I was just walking around my suite, my living room and bedroom, and I started to appreciate things around me, not for their beauty or their symbolism, but for how well they were doing their job. For example, the bricks that are holding up the walls of this house. They're absolutely crushing it. The light switch, I flip it and boom, there is light every time. Like what? My shirt, my clothes, they don't dissolve in the rain, or they don't dissolve into nothingness when I sweat. They are there, they're reliable. This fabric, in a sense, I can count on it. My lungs, breathing in, breathing out every moment of my life so far. Wow. Thank you, lungs, for excelling in your purpose. And honestly, that simple shift of noticing what's working really pulled me back into wonder I didn't have to force appreciation. I was just able to witness in silence and witness the excellence that is surrounding me. And in doing that, I returned to the now, the real now, the alive now that's held together by structures and soft breath. And I realized awe isn't always about what's extraordinary. Sometimes it's about remembering how much life is already working beautifully. And for me, that was my re-entry point. Not through inspiration, but through quiet appreciation of what never stopped supporting me. It was really a powerful experience because I've explored a variety of appreciation practices, and this specific one, it came from deep within me, and a part of me was missing the connection to self. And wow, what a gift. And amidst that, I realized that I have so many recent moments of awe and wonder that I had forgotten about. And as I returned to this practice, I was like, wow, even within the fog, there have been so many moments of awe and wonder woven into my life that I wasn't able to fully celebrate or notice in the moment. And some of the things this week that really were part of my return to awe and wonder were things like a conversation that I had with a friend about the late Andrea Gibson's poem, What Love Is. If you have never listened to that poem, I invite you to listen to it. I'll try and include a link below. And this poem had lots of beautiful gems, especially the reminder that as beings, we have the capacity to be fully present and care for one another beyond the superficial layers. Wow. The reminder that how we choose and what we choose can be an act of devotional love, or we can act out of fear and conditioning. And that capacity and empowerment within us all to choose the fear or to choose the love, that's incredible. It's awe-inspiring and truly wonderful. The other thing that was part of my return was discovering a show called Strange Planet. It's based on the web comic by Nathan W. Pyle, and it follows these soft blue beings who explore human behavior with literal, tender curiosity and unexpected depth. It's such a good show. Honestly, to me it felt like a more expansive version of Inside Out, and one that would appeal to a wider emotional range and invites a deeper kind of presence. So if you have not watched Strange Planet, look it up and watch it. This show, it lit up my days in magical ways, and it gently reminded me that delight does not need to be loud or transformative. Ooh, these orbs around me are so beautiful. Yeah. And there are things that I started to notice that really bring me back to my sense of awe and wonder. For example, when I watch movies or episodes of TV shows within this VR platform, it feels like I have the whole cinema to myself. Like the world is quiet and infinite, just for me. And being in virtual reality activates something in my fascia. It's a kind of aliveness and reverent presence. And yeah, and recently, I don't know if any of you have heard of the show It's called Cirque du Soleil Without a Net. It's a movie on Amazon Prime. And watching this documentary was really, really awe-inspiring. It's a documentary that shares how Cirque filed for bankruptcy. They filed for bankruptcy at the start of the pandemic. And despite it all, they chose to return to the stage when it was safe to do so with their show, Oh, in Las Vegas, as their point of re-sparking the world. The fact that they collaborated, risked, rehearsed, and devoted themselves to bringing magic back to audiences at a time when fear and uncertainty reigned, that belief, wow. That choice to believe and wonder again, to me, that is awe. It was a collective act of remembering that sacred yes to life. And as I watched that show, honestly, I felt part of that same yes to life returning in me. It was like a glimmer. And sometimes glimmers are enough to wake the wonder back up. After I had watched the documentary, I actually found one of the dancers from Cirque du Soleil on Instagram, and I followed him and he followed me back. Usually famous people, I noticed, don't always follow me back on Instagram. And I was like, oh wow, next time I'm in Vegas, I will shoot this being a message to tell them thank you so much for being a spark and a glimmer and being present in this documentary in a way that it lives on, it sparks awe and wonder in so many beings in the world. Thank you so much all for being here. And I didn't script this episode and I didn't know exactly what I was going to say. I just pressed record, and as I started to think about what I was going to say, I was like, wow. Here I was thinking that awe had left me. And in speaking my truth out loud, I'm like, oh my gosh. The awe and wonder has been here all along, even in the perceived fog. And one of the ways that I know that I'm back is this morning at the start of my workday, I wrote a few poems to myself. And for me, that's one of those things that naturally and normally happens when I'm in sync with self. And I'm back. And obviously, I've been here all along. And yeah, just a reminder that awe and wonder, they're not always like fireworks. Sometimes they're soft, sweet, cushioned remembrance. Sometimes they're glimmers or gestures that add luster to the mundane. Wow. What I'm noticing is that when awe returns, it's not just a mindset shift. Something in my fascia feels. There's like a softening, a kind of inner breath, almost like the tissue of my being remembering it's safe to expand again. When I'm seemingly disconnected from awe, my system feels compressed, like everything is muted or slightly further away. But then, when wonder shows up again, even just a glimmer, my body responds. Like the now feels closer, the air feels more inviting, And I feel more engaged in my life, not just watching it passively. And awe reminds me that something beautiful is still possible. Wonder reminds me that I'm allowed to look for it. These feelings matter, not because they make everything better, but because they help me feel connected to myself again. Like my fascia gets to unclench. Like I can trust this moment again. Wow, relief. And maybe awe isn't just something that we receive. Maybe it's something that we help generate. What if all of us, you and me, and everything we perceive around us, what if it's all here by design? And each element is part of what makes this whole constellation sparkle. What if your existence is part of what gives the moon and the stars life too? What if you or I sometimes just forget how wonderful and truly vital we are to the awe and wonder of it all? Because consider this, without the perceivers, do the dreamers and dancers exist? Do they? Okay, rhetorical question, do not answer that. And I have some invitational questions for you before you wind down. I'd love for you to consider these. What is currently excelling at being itself in your world? What around you is quietly doing its job? The earth holding you up? Your lungs? Your couch? Your bed? Your digestive system? Consider what is really excelling around you. The next thing I invite you to consider and ponder is what tends to dim your own sense of awe, and what gently brings it back online. There's no pressure to fix it. Just noticing it can be the beginning of return, really. And next I invite you to ponder, what did your younger self once dream of that you might be living now, even in a small way? Consider your 5-year-old self. If they were to see your life now, what would make them gasp in awe and wonder? How are you already the answer to a past wish? And now consider, what if awe has never been gone from your life? What would that shift in belief open up for you if you consider that the awe and wonder has been with you always, even in the seasons when the fog seemed to take over? It's been so wonderful having you here. Thank you so much for your presence and for being you. If something landed for you, a phrase, a feeling, or a flicker of insight, hold on to that. Let it echo into whatever comes next for you. This space, this podcast, is part of a larger experiment in enoughness, energy, and everyday magic. Those are the North Stars of the Chi Magic Verse. Enoughness, energy, and everyday magic. And you know what? Real magic doesn't need to be big. Sometimes it's just the moment that you pause to feel. And you can always begin again, really. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Reminding you to blink twice for wonder and once for awe. One hand on the dream and one hand on the now. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you and look forward to connecting with you next time we're back here at Chi Magic Verse. Woo! Awe and wonder.
Blink twice for wonder.